Well, folks, we're dealing with a new camera, so bear with me. Hopefully the video comes out pretty good. I'm going to shoot a few shots off the camera in front of this fishing update or fishing report or whatever you want to call it. Just some shots that we've been doing from the spey casting clinic, which went off this weekend very well. Thank you for everybody that showed up. We had some great casters, and class went off really good. Everybody had a great time, and this is kind of getting close to what I would call the unofficial official start of salmon season. I'm going to kind of give a little bit of rundown of what's going on, and hopefully I was able to edit some nice river shots and stuff like that so you don't have to look at me, but I am now doing this report from the banks of the Salmon River. So what's going on? Well, probably a lot of you heard this river had a lot of high water the past week. So actually about a week ago this river hit a little over almost 6,000, 7,000 CFS. I think it's not quite, right around 6,000 CFS it hit at the Pineville gauge at one point. The week before that, or 2 weeks before that, it actually hit 3,000. So we've had a lot of high water. But this last event, memory serves me right, this river spent over 48 hours at 5,000 CFS plus. That's a lot. That's flood conditions. As a result of the recently, oh by the way, the water temperatures are also in the low to the upper 60s. It's just fluctuating quite a bit here depending on the day. So as you can imagine, there's a few salmon in the system. I mean by a few, it's just, you can go to a pool, one of the major pools, and there might be a fish or two rolling around in there. There is a small handful of fish in the upper fly zone. Today, when we're doing this report, the Douglaston did have a couple of fish caught down on the run. The river is finally back down to, I'm not quite sure. The Pineville gauge says 755. The utility company says they're releasing 750 from the dam, and there's a lot of runoff still coming into the river, so they're not releasing 750. A little bit less. But anyways, the river's back down to normal flows, if I was to say normal, which is not normal for this time of the year. Normally this time of the year we're looking at a river flow of about 185. We're looking at water temperatures 72, 76 degrees. Not somewhere between 62 and 68 degrees, which is what's going on right now. So we're actually got good salmon fishing conditions, or good conditions for the salmon. Are they showing up in any numbers? No. Are they trickling in tiny little numbers? Yes. Is there more salmon around for this time of the year than normal? Absolutely. What's that going to mean for next weekend, Labor Day weekend? I don't know. I'm going to fish it and find out. Or are we going to see an increase in water? I don't know. Probably not. They might just keep this low and just call it good enough. We'll know Friday. So a lot to be known. But what's going to probably happen is we're going to have a few fish kicking around every morning going forward at this pace. So I don't expect to see a surge of salmon on Labor Day weekend, but I'm going to fish it anyways and find out. So that's kind of what's going on. So like I said, there's been some fish out, kind of in the major pools going all the way up through. A couple of notes on river conditions. With all the high water, there was some trees blocking the river up in the bull vines in the upper float, but the boats are getting through, so I think the high water washed those trees out. I think there's a couple sketchy spots, so if you're running a drift boat, be mindful going through the bull vine. I think there's some roots in a couple spots that you got to maneuver around, but it's passable. You can navigate through, from what I gather. The guys are also navigating through the midsection with the boats without too much trouble. With all this water, it's going to be really nice on a drift boat. Looks like the reports from the lake, a lot of big salmon. So I think we're going to have a really good run on salmon. The numbers seem to be good, so everything's pointing to a good fall with some big fish. Once again, we'll know by the time February comes around. You never know until it's over exactly how it's going to shake out, but things are looking very good. Just when the main runs come in, it's a different question. I've tried to predict when I see these fish show up, and they always make a liar out of me. So yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I just tell everybody that my crystal ball's got a big crack in it, and so I'm doing. My guess is we'll probably have some decent runs rolling by about mid-September. As always, that's normal. Until then, it's going to be just a light trickle of fish, a very light trickle of fish. If you want to get out and fish and get a crack at an odd salmon and get a real fresh fish that's real angry with good quality fish, a lot of fishing pressure, now's the time. Probably the next 2 to 3 weeks you'll have lower than normal fishing pressure, even though there's a few guys out. So it'll be a nice time to be on the river if you're just looking for a bite or two. But about middle of September, things ought to be rolling. I talked to Garrett at the DSR. Garrett's the river keeper, and he said that basically after the high water marks, all the river restoration is in good shape. It survived, no damage, and they have no trees in the way or anything else. It's just to see if what got cut and resituated after the high water. Considering that it's still kind of high and a little murky, they don't know yet, but everything looks pretty much status quo for that part of the river. And I was up in the upper fly zone this morning. Everything looks really nice up in there. There's a couple fish rolling. So we're off to a good start. A couple things to think about on a high water year. Be very careful where you wade. Don't go over your knees. Oh, by the way, the fish are usually pretty close in the shoreline anyway, so that won't be a problem. And they move through the lower river pretty fast. So if you're not a lower river fisherman and you're hearing reports and you're more of an upper river fisherman, just be mindful. You give them a day or two and they'll be up top. And it's higher water. I find fish navigate through the river in about 2 days, lower river about 3 to 4 days. In lower water flows they'll come through, so they just move slower in the lower water. But if we're having a lot of 750,000 water, these fish are going to go through really fast. So that's something to keep in mind too. But that's kind of where we're at. Things that look like we're getting off to a pretty good start. The spey casting clinic went off really good, and looking forward to a run on salmon. Really not much more to report other than yeah, probably a quick announcement before I forget. Probably should have done it in the beginning, but I annoy everybody with them. But I'm going to be carrying some fly assortment boxes with me this fall to help support the channel. So if you're interested in some flies and supporting the channel, and you see me, I'll have some boxes of flies with different types of stuff. The other thing is we're going to try to get a little bit, like I said, with this camera here, I'm hoping to have a few more extra videos out this fall, or at least up the quality of the videos a little bit. And this camera, I can do some still photos, so I'll be able to add some nice stills with it and so on like that going forward. So hopefully, if I get this new camera figured out, we can get some neat photography and some videos. It's going to take a bit. This new little camera's got more computing power than you can imagine. I think it's got enough computing power to solve the quantum physics of warp drive. I just got to get the settings on it right so something looks good. Anyways, that's what's going on. Lots going to start flowing for the fall. We're going to try to do a video shoot over Labor Day weekend so we can have a video for you. So, as always, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That bell icon lets you know when we put a new video up. That subscribe puts you in the list for the notifications for the channel. And hey, see you on the river, folks. Stop and say hello if you see. Anyways, see ya, folks. This is Jay at JPEG Guides and Lost River Fishing. We are a year-round fly fishing catch and release guide service. We fish the Lake Ontario tributaries, and then during the spring and the summer we also fish the inland trout streams, classic dry fly fishing. During the heat of the summer we will do the warm water fishing for bass and pike. If you're interested in any of our outings or have any questions, please feel free to email us at fish@lostriversfishing.com. Hope to hear from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.